Hi, welcome to today's quick revision question. It is a functions question. Hopefully you can recognize that by just seeing it if you're a higher student. It is grade 8, so if you're a foundation student, this one isn't for you, but do please check out the various playlists for foundation and those grades that are associated to it. So you've got a calculator. Hit pause and press play when you are ready to see the solution. Okay, so we're being asked to find the function where g, the function of g, is within the function of f. Now, the way that I think about this is I consider the function of x, because that is the first letter, and we're dropping in g2. So we need to get our function of g, which is 4x minus 1, and work out what that is. And we're being asked to substitute 2 in. So 7 is the result of g2. So we're going to drop a 7 into our function of x, which will give us 7 cubed, which is 343 for a final answer. Okay, now for the next one, inverse. Inverse can get complicated. It really does depend on the type of question that you get. The method that I personally do really tackles even the hardest of questions. So whilst it might be more than you'd need for a simpler question, honestly, if you get this to be your method, to be your habit and your go-to, you shouldn't be really fazed by anything at all. So we're being told that the function of h is this composite function, f g of x. So again, I've got my f first, and being dropped into it is g of x. Well, we know that g of x is equal to 4x minus 1. So that is what we are dropping in. And obviously the function's x cubed. So this here will be going here to give me 4x minus 1 cubed. Okay. Now that's the function of hx. So let's make that really clear. Communicate well to your examiner. We don't want that. We want the inverse of that. So the inverse is the opposite, it's undoing. Now, the way that we're going to do this is we're going to take the function and we're going to set it to equal y. If we were going to draw the graph of that function, we would set it to equal y. We're then just going to switch the places of the x and the y, and that will instantly create this inverse setup in a way that makes things so easy. Okay, now we're going to work at getting the y on its own so that y becomes the subject again. And by doing that, we're undoing all the steps in the correct order to be writing the inverse. So the first thing that's going to go to the other side is my cube, which will land as a cubed root. On this side, I've got 4y minus 1 left. That will land as plus 1. I now have 4y equals cubed root of x plus 1. And to finish off, I will just divide through by 4. So the inverse of our function h is 3 root x plus, oh, my plus isn't good, plus 1 divided by 4. And that was a 5-mark question, 2 for the first, 3 for the second. It's a technique that definitely we need to be confident with, but it's really common. So it's worth persevering if you're finding it tricky, because there's some great marks associated to it. I hope it went well for you. I hope the explanation has really helped if it didn't, and I'll see you next time for our next revision question.